Hi folks, Chris Anderson, Mount Comfort RV. Thanks for looking us up. We're going to do another video. Exciting time of year. The 2020s are starting to roll in. This is a 2020 Country Star. Country Star obviously is a new old name from Newmar, for those of you that go back a few years. So it is new again for 2020. They've renamed the Ventana LE. So if you were looking at Ventana LEs last year, look at Country Stars this year. You'll see a lot of similarities, but there's also a lot that's new here. This is an updated product, so they've changed a lot, and we're going to go over that. Of course, one of the things we always like to show you is the room when the slides are in. Now, this is a model 3412, so this isn't one of these big 43 45 footers that we do. This is a 34 footer. You know what the problem with a 34-foot motorhome is? Everybody wants all the stuff that fits in that 45-foot motorhome in here as well. So that's the tricky thing. There's always compromises to be made when we go to a smaller size. This is a great coach if somebody's looking at like the New Air type product and maybe doesn't want to spend New Air type money. This is going to come in for a whole lot less money. So first and foremost, let's take a look at the aisle that we have here. Okay, it's a little tight right in front of this chair, but certainly still very doable as you pass through here. Then it opens up and it's actually quite nice the rest of the way. I can not even turn sideways here, easily get into the bathroom, refrigerator, and go back and lay on the bed. So that's one of the important things that we're always looking at with these is how well can we use this going down the road. This is what you have going down the road. Now, we'll be right back. We're going to get this opened up. And just that quick, we're opened up. Obviously looks a lot better now. We have all the room in the world. One of the things, and this we do read our viewer comments. We try to respond whenever possible. Unless you're responding on a really old video, you'll probably get a response within 24 hours. And so please let us know what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong. We take all of that seriously. Don't forget to ask for me when you come in. And by special request, we're going to try something a little different here. We're going to give you an overview, a 30-second overview of the motorhome before we go any further. So if it's the wrong motorhome, you can just hit like and click off of here. If it's the right motorhome, you get to watch the whole thing. So let's walk around. As you can see, we have a sofa and a chair on the driver's side. Across from that, we have the booth dinette and the kitchen. We have a single midship bathroom. And then in the back, we have a walk-around queen bed with a nice rear closet. There is enough storage in here. If somebody was going to spend extended time, either snowbird or full-time in here, there is enough room to do that because this does have significant closet storage in the coach. And of course, like all Newmars, it's built for 4 seasons. So there's your quick overview. Hopefully you're sticking around with us and this is the perfect coach for you. Now, the decor on here, this particular decor is called the Linux decor. This is Astoria maple is the wood that we used in here. And let's see, the graphics on the outside are called Uptown. So as we go through this, you'll be able to, if you're considering ordering a unit or want to just know what colors these are, those are the color palette that we used. A lot has changed for 2020. First of all, Country Star is kind of, like I said, an old new name. They used this name back in the day. It has not been with us for quite some time, but it's back and better than ever. We're going to start up front. Now I'm going to give you a 30-second overview of the new driving instrument cluster and that type of thing, and then later on we'll actually take this coach for a drive. That's another viewer suggestion, by the way. So up here on the driver's side, notice there's a lot less going on over here. We used to have a lot of buttons and switches here. They're gone. Okay, we do still have 2 cup holders, and I have my leveling jacks over here. That's really all that is to the driver's left. I have headlight and mirror control over here, as well as my dome light and my battery boost switch. That's really all the switches to the driver's left of any kind. The center console has stayed mostly the same, but what has really changed is everything else here in the middle. Freightliner for 2020 has introduced all new chassis controls. So for those of us who hate change, get ready to have some stuff to complain about. Really, I've had some time to spend some time in the seat though, and honestly, I'm liking what they're doing. I will admit I'm still getting used to it, but let's go over that. So first and foremost, digital dash is standard equipment on all Newmar diesels this year. So as I turn the key on, you see that's a fully digital dash. I'm going to go ahead and start the engine up. There we go. So my comfort drive is coming to life. Those light, like that check engine light, should go off there. There we go. I love it when the equipment cooperates. So everything is coming to life nicely there. Great visibility. This is very bright, easy to see. So where did all the controls go? Where's my comfort drive control? For crying out loud, where's my gear shift? Well, let's start with the gear shift. It used to, of course, be push button control right over here to the driver's left. Well, that's gone. It's now on this new stalk that they put on the right hand side, and you can get in there and you see there's a little wheel in there, and if I want to put it in drive, I put my foot on the brake and I turn it to drive or reverse, either one. That's how this now works. Now my initial thought was, boy, that's really hard to see when you're driving here because the steering wheel kind of blocks it, and that is correct. But I talked to the guys at Freightliner and they pointed out to me, you know what, can you see all of the controls that are on your car or truck, like on the turn signal? Maybe you turn your wiper blades on there. Can you really see all those, or do you just know where they're at? That was a fair point, because on my particular truck I can't see my cruise control or my wiper controls. I just know where they are, and once you learn your vehicle, it's very natural to just reach for it and do it. The same thing will be true here. I'm still getting used to. I still tend to push that brake in and then go looking with my pointy finger over here for where the push button transmission is, but I'm getting used to it. So that's now on this stalk. The other thing this stalk does is this does turn on your exhaust or compression brake. In this case, it's a VGT brake, but this is what will slow your coach down in the mountains, keep your coach from running away from you. So that actually just pulling that stalk straight back towards me turns it on. If I want to manually shift my transmission, I can use this button on the end, M&A, and push that in, and that'll put it in manual mode. And then I have a paddle shifter out here. Okay, so that's another nice feature that is available through there. So that does quite a bit. The turn signal stalk over here now has my wiper controls on it, and it feels much better. For years, and I mean since the late 90s, the turn signal stalks on motorhomes have just been kind of spongy, and they don't have a real solid click to them. They always just kind of felt, I don't know, for lack of a better word, cheap. This does not. This is very solid. You can tell they've put some money in updating this. Hazard lights have been moved to the side console over here, or side of the steering column rather. And then we have our controls for our cruise control and answering our phone via Bluetooth, which we'll get into in a little bit, over here. And then our computer control, because this is now a computer screen. Our computer controls right over here with our thumb. We have choices of up and down, OK, back, and home. Those are our choices. So let's go over some of that. We'll try to get the camera in here a little tight on the screen if we can, Tony. There we go. Now I'm going to be controlling this with my thumb, and he can pan out here a little bit in a second, but like if I want to do, we'll say the comfort drive control, I'm going to go down to vehicle configuration by using my down arrow. I then hit OK, and I have Bluetooth control in here, dash brightness, and I go down to steering effort, and I hit OK, and now I can dial comfort drive up or down simply based on these little thumb controls that you see here. When you get it in the setting that you want, you just hit OK, then you can hit the back to go back to a different menu. So you have all kinds of different controls here that you can work without ever taking your hands off the wheel. The whole idea is to be able to do this without taking your hands off the wheel. Most people don't change their comfort drive very often. They find their happy setting and kind of leave it there. If you do, there's about 3 steps to do it, and you can do it without ever taking your hand off the wheel. So that's the idea of the new controls here. One of my favorite new features is actually Bluetooth integration into the chassis. Freightliner introduced that for the 2020 along with their digital dash and everything. And the best part about this is it's controlled by your hands, so you don't have to take your hands off the wheel. You're not looking over at an aftermarket stereo that's never as nice as having it integrated from the factory. The microphones, the RV manufacturers seem to never know the best place to place the microphone. This has a built-in microphone here on top, and then I can actually see the status of my phone. I'm already synced to this. You can see my battery life and my signal strength and my Bluetooth. That's all right there. But my favorite feature is you can actually see who's calling you right here on this center display. It pops up and you can decide whether or not you're going to answer or not. In fact, we can actually demo that. Tony, why don't you go ahead and call my phone, and we'll watch it pop up here. That's actually a little awkward. Looks like my kids were probably playing with my phone. Moving to the center console, as I said, not a lot has changed here in the center console. Things might be in a little different position, but for the most part they're the same. You have your main backup camera, which of course is color, and that is turn signal activated to go to your side cameras. You can kind of see I got some compartment doors and stuff open on the outside of this. And then our radio, we did option in the Excite radio, which is going to have the navigation in it, and that is the Rand McNally navigation, so you can program in your size, so it won't take you down any roads that you physically don't fit down. These are just your basic HVAC controls for heating and air conditioning out of the dashboard up here. And then we have our front visor and shade control, our overhead fans, and they have high, medium, and low on them, generator start, and of course air horns. Have to have air horns. A couple USBs here in the center console and a 12 volt. And then drop down, we have a couple of drawers here. Our air brake is right next to the key on this on this floor plan, and then our tilt wheel is controlled with the left foot, and that is tilt and telescoping. I love this because it doesn't matter where you want to get it in your perfect spot. You move it a 1/16 of an inch, just wherever you take your foot off, that's where it is. And then when you're done, you arrive, you're getting out of your seat. I like to just hit it with my left foot. The steering wheel retracts. It makes a real good kind of handle and spot to push myself up on to get out of the driver passenger seat. Of course, this coach does have a stepwell cover as well. We're not going to film that right this moment. You've seen that before, the stepwell covers. The passenger seat here does have the incliner built into it also, so both of these seats will rotate around, and then this seat will recline like a lazy boy chair. Has the table built in, adjustable arms this year on the Country Star also. All right, let's get into the coach a little bit more. This does have the booth dinette that does turn into a bed. Some of the booths do, some of the booths do not. This one absolutely does, and we do have storage below. So both under each booth you have a drawer just like this one. And this is actually Villa furniture. It's a Villa Comfort dinette. We do have a televator right at the dinette also. So that's coming up now. We have outlets on either side here. So if you're sitting here, you want to use this as a little workstation, you'll have USB and 110 on the rear side, and on the front side over here, you're just going to have two 110s. So lots of power you can access. And then we'll get into some of our overhead storage. This is kind of our entertainment center here in the middle. Plenty of extra room here for satellite receiver if you choose to go that way. This coach does have the in-motion satellite dish on it. The Blu-ray player comes with it. The Bose Bose Home soundbar. I'll spit that out here in a minute. The Bose soundbar does come with it as well, and nice storage cabinets on either side. Across from there in the living room area, we have our Flex steel chair, and that is a full recliner. Our lighting is all multiplex, and they're very well labeled, so you can do multiple lights from one switch, turn on lights in multiple places. And I love the fact that it's labeled, so you're not wondering what does this do. Just hit the appropriate switch and light it up. As we go down through here, we have 4 more cabinets, but that's all one cabinet. There's no dividers in here. So if you have items that are bigger than the door, if you can angle them in there, they'll fit. Then you have the little box at the back there, and that box at the back tells me that this sofa actually has the hide-a-bed mattress in it that has its own air bladder inside. So you have an inner spring hide-a-bed mattress on the bottom, and then on the top of it, it has an air bladder, but it's still contained in the mattress ticking. This is residential furniture. This is nice residential furniture. And if you do want to sleep extra people here, that will be a very comfortable place to do it. The ceilings have been redesigned. You see this now has some shape to it. Things were very rectangular before, getting a little more shape, a little more body to them. They still function the same way with your return ducts and your output ducts in there, and they're still just as quiet. By the way, right now, our generator and 2 air conditioners are running, and this coach is virtually silent. So you're not going to have any problems hearing the TV. We'll move into the kitchen area. I know a lot of people like to see the kitchen storage, so let's get some cabinets opened up there. We have a double stainless undermount sink. Back in there. And we do have a stainless, come on now, quiet. There we go. Stainless pull-out sprayer. and a new stainless. Oh, I still didn't get it done, did I? All right, I'll get the hammer and I'll get that kitchen top put back down in a minute. We have the new Dometic stainless burners. This is a lot nicer. It has cast iron grates in it instead of the flimsy rattle. I hate the rattles. Going down the road, you want to get me excited. My kids know Dad gets very upset if something's rattling in the motorhome. We don't do that, so this makes it a lot nicer. Just everything's a little beefier there. All right, kitchen drawers. 1, 2, 3, 4 of the small drawers. This one has the silverware divider in it. And these are, look, they're soft close. You get them close and they pull themselves in. All right. And then 1, 2, 3 of the larger drawers. And again, those are soft close. You just get them close and they'll pull themselves the rest of the way in. Little flip down here. Nice spot over here. I think I put the garbage can there. All right. Did I forget to do this one? I think I forgot to do this one. People will call me out on that. I'll get comments. Okay. As we move back to the middle of the coach, you see nice little things like, over the years, ceilings have gotten a little taller. If you're not real tall, sometimes getting to the fantastic fan controls up in here are a little tougher. This actually has a thermostat on the wall for controlling your fantastic fan in your kitchen. So you don't have to take this cover down and get up there and play with the controls. It's actually right here on the wall. Easy to do. The restroom, I'll let Tony get an overview of it, and then I'll go in and start opening cabinets. I love the backsplash. All right, let's show you some of the storage in here. Now again, keep in mind, this is a 34-footer. So we're always going to have a little less storage than you would have in a 45-footer, but this bathroom actually has a lot of nice little cubbies in it. Down below, shower is actually pretty sizable for a 34-foot coach. I've got plenty of elbow room in here. I can turn all the way around. Nice fixtures. Very adequate. Again, for a 34-footer, I would call this a big shower. Refrigerator is a full-size residential. This is a Whirlpool. Ice maker down below. Lock is built in. Okay. And then we have a pantry. Look at the pantry. It's deep all the way down. Okay. Heading back into the bedroom. Walk around queen bed. I'm going to stop you before you text me the question. No, you cannot get a king. We get down to 34 feet. Like I said, everybody wants everything that fits in the 43 and 45 footers in the smaller coaches. One of the trade-offs is generally going to be when you get down to 34 feet, you're probably going to a queen bed. If they tried to put a king in here, you would not be able to walk in the room. Is really what it boils down to. So this is still a very nice bedroom with a queen bed in it. There are outlets on both sides. This is a flat floor as I walk around here. I didn't have to step up like you do on a lot of coaches. And then I want to open up in here. There we go. There's an outlet there. Why in the world would somebody put an outlet there and then put little holes here in the sides? Well, I know a lot of you know exactly what that's for, and you're excited to see it. That's for a CPAP machine, or his and hers CPAP machines, if you will. So the outlet in there makes it nice. You'll be able to store your CPAP up there, run your hose right down through here, and you're not dealing with it. CPAPs are wonderful, but they can be a little cumbersome. Don't have to worry about that. There is storage under the bed. A nice stretch that hold it up. Then two more nice cabinets here, as well as an entertainment cabinet. Again, the Blu-ray is included with it. We went to Samsung on televisions this year, across the board on Newmar. So again, it's just name brand stuff. You see so many products out there, and you see, especially in electronics, you see names of things you've never heard of, and you certainly can't, nothing you're going to go to Best Buy and find, because it's something straight out of China that the manufacturer got a deal on, and that's not the case here. This is Samsung. Soft closed drawers in here as well. Then nice rear closet. And on the Country Stars this year, we're going to bring, I think all of them, but certainly most of them in, without the washer dryer, but we're going to fully prep for it. All of the plumbing and everything is there. We found we were taking it out for a few people. They wanted some storage. They wanted to do something else with this closet. So we're going to option it without. I can add it for really the same price that if I added it at the factory or if I added it at the dealership, it doesn't really matter. It's about the same price. So you want a washer dryer in here, great, we'll put a washer dryer in. If you want the storage, it's already there. It's already done for that. So that's the inside of this coach. Before we go outside, I'll give you some facts and figures on it. This is a 360 horse engine, 800 foot-pounds of torque on the engine. There are 2 roof air conditioners on this. This is tied to the Allison 3000 transmission, which what that really means for you, more so than a lot of other coaches that might be the same engine, but they tie them to a lesser transmission. This will still tow 10,000 pounds behind it. Fully loaded, still tow 10,000 pounds behind it. That's not normal on 34-foot coaches. You're going to find that most of them, they're rated at 5,000 pounds for towing if you do your homework on that. So nice little upgrade here. This is still a heavy-duty Newmar coach. Let's go take a quick look at the outside. Get down! All right, we're good. All right, it's a beautiful day here at Mount Comfort RV. We're going to look at the outside of the 2020 Country Star 3412. By the way, we're located in Greenfield, Indiana, which is just east of Indianapolis on I-70, for those of you wondering where we are and how quickly you can get here to buy this beautiful motorhome. We're going to go over the outside, all the compartments, show you some basics on there, and then we've got a little surprise for you cooked up at the end. So as we go through, some things that we always bring in on the Newmars. We love the flagpole holder. There's a little insert that goes right in here, allows you to fly your colors. As I mentioned, on the inside it does have the side cameras and the rear camera. This also has a clear film on it. You can kind of see a seam of it right there to protect the front against rock chips and bugs and that type of thing. As we come back, we do have dual fuel fill on this coach, so you can get to it from either side. That's actually a little thing, but it's so important. Every time I take a gas coach over or something that only has one fuel fill on it, it just always seems like the pump you're trying to get into, you can't get to, so you have to wait forever for the pump. There's only one pump that you can really access with a coach this big, and it always seems to be the toughest one to get to. So with this, you have choices. Our front compartment is very large. It's not a pass-through, but it is a very large, deep compartment. The next one back is a pass-through, and I'll take a knee right here just to show you the thickness of the floor. The floor is like this thick. It's full of insulation. There's a metal protector on the bottom. There's insulation. Then you have the wood and the carpeted platform here. Everybody talks about how well insulated their coach is, but they don't want to talk about the fact that their floor is less than 1/4 inch thick. As we come back here, this pegboard area is for tool storage. The water tanks are actually held behind there, so you can take that out if you ever needed to access your water tanks. Hopefully you never do, but it's nice to know. And again, that's a heated compartment, and that is a fully insulated compartment. We did option in the outside television. Again, it's a Samsung with a Bose soundbar. This swivels in whatever direction you want. And best of all, you're not dealing with any janky straps or anything when you're done. You just push this back. There's big magnets that grab it. TV's put away. We do have a power awning with a metal wrap on this side. The metal wrap protects you against tree branches as you're going through the campground. Come back to this compartment. Now the engine's running on here. You should probably be able to hear it now, but it's a very quiet coach all in all. 2 nice storage compartments here behind this door. Notice these are Newmar's flush mount slides, the only type of slides they do. They fit so nice. The real benefit there is that's just less of a chance for a leak or wind noise. This is our control to shut off the chassis if we're going to put it in storage, and then we have 2 2 chassis batteries here as well. As we go around to the outside, you'll notice the front and rear cap have been completely redesigned from the Ventana LE last year. This is a whole new design, so it looks a little more aggressive this year, I think. I like it. The taillights are up high where they could be seen over a toad. Here's where we would check all our fluids. I'm going to put that down. As I mentioned, 10,000 pound towing capacity on this coach. And I'll let Tony back up just a little bit so he can kind of show you a good view of that new aggressive rear cap. Fiberglass roof is standard for Country Star this year, so this does have a 1-piece fiberglass roof on it. And a lot of coaches, this is open to the engine bay, and it's useless at that point. Newmar goes ahead and closes this compartment off. Even though it's only a foot or so deep, it does give you that added storage. As we move forward, you're going to see a 50 amp shore power cord in this compartment. And then this is a surge protector and transfer switch all in one. Your surge protector is going to protect you in the case of high power at a spike in power at the campground. Some of these campgrounds are older and you do get some fluctuating power. That will protect your coach and the electronics inside. This is our diesel exhaust fluid. This is a 10-gallon tank. This is part of the after treatment of the engine. If you want more information on after treatments, I can answer all those questions, but I hate boring people to tears. So feel free to reach out to me and I will answer those. And in this little compartment here, that's where the sewer hose stores. It has its own little spot because it's a sewer hose. We'll come a little further forward. We're going to see the wet bay. Now this has the whole house water filtration system on it. You do have a black tank rinse. This coach will hold 105 gallons of fresh water. I forgot to mention it does hold 100 gallons of fuel as well. We have hot and cold water out here. A siphon hose for winterization, all built in. Everything is very well labeled. Everything is neat. This is an insulated compartment. This is a heated compartment. As we come back, you see the other half of this pass-through. That is one really large pass-through area. A person could put a tray in there if they want to. Trays can be good and bad. You do lose some height with trays. So, we have to pick on every model what the next customer through the door is going to want, so that's always tricky. We have 6 house batteries on this coach, and they are on a pull-out tray for easy maintenance, and then you have your propane bottle there. Here's your other fuel fill that I mentioned from the other side, and then this compartment is really utilized just for coach electronics. If you had a couple small items you wanted to put them down at the bottom, it's not going to hurt anything, but these are chassis electronics here. As we come forward to the nose of the coach, again, all new front cap. This does have the 8 kW Onan diesel generator built in. Nice prop rod here to hold this up. We have access to our air system. It comes with a little hose if you needed to air up any beach toys or anything. Hook right in there, and you can do that off of your compressor that is built onto the engine. All right, so that's a quick overview of the outside. Now let's go have fun. For the first time ever on a Chris video at Mount Comfort RV, we're going to take it for a spin. Okay, this isn't going to be a full-blown driving course or anything, but I want to give some basics and some thoughts that you might want to have, because one of the things people are most intimidated about sometimes, and they don't want to say so, is that they're scared to drive these. And I tell people all the time, and then I show them, that getting people comfortable driving these is honestly one of the easier parts of my job. There's a few things you have to remember, but it's 90% the same driving you've been doing since you were a teenager. That 10% that's different is an important 10%, but 90% of it's the same. And once you get, and especially considering where most people drive these most of the time, which is out on the highway or the interstate, they're pretty darn easy to drive. So let's talk a little about a couple of things. First and foremost, starting a diesel. One thing that changes is diesels have a little preheat cycle they need to go through. So first thing you do is you just turn the key to on, and then there's a wait to start light. Now you're not going to see that right now because it's going to go off immediately because this engine's already warm. So there's no reason to preheat this. But normally you would wait for the wait to start light to go out, and then you would go ahead and crank over the engine. Now the interesting thing about a diesel is, even sitting here in the coach, neither Tony or myself heard that engine. You felt it a little bit, but it's 35 feet behind us. You don't hear it. Speaking of 35 feet, this coach is 34 feet 10 inches long. For those of you keeping score at home, it's 12 foot 10 inches high. So there you go. So now I have all the same gauges that I would be used to in a car. I have my oil pressure gauge, my battery gauge, fuel level, temperature, but then there's a couple extras thrown in, which are PSI, pounds per square inch. So that's air pressure. Those represent what is in what we call the ping tanks in a diesel chassis. Diesel chassis ride on air, and they have air brakes, so you need a supply of air to make them work properly. So underneath the floor, down in the chassis, there are two holding tanks. They look just like compressor tanks that you would have on a compressor at home. When you first start a diesel engine, if it hasn't been started in a while, you may have to wait on that air to come up. It's going to beep at you till it's at 65 or 75 psi, and you really don't want to drive it below 100 psi, because that's going to get full air in your airbags and give you the best ride possible. Air brakes are the safest brakes in the world. They're an interesting concept because they actually take air to activate them when you step on the pedal, but more importantly, they take air to release them. So if there was a catastrophic leak in the air system and all the air leaked out of the coach, which I've never even heard of happening, but we'll say it happened. And the only thing that would happen is that the coach would come to a stop and you wouldn't be able to go anywhere. It would just be like trying to drive it with the parking brake on. It physically would not go. So it would never result in a situation where you just didn't have brakes. That's why all of the over-the-road semis and everything use air brakes, because they're a very, very safe system. We've talked a little bit about controlling some of the things in this coach, so we're just going to go ahead and get right to it. The next thing you want to do is release your brake here, which is your air brake, by pushing it in, and then you would put your coach in drive. You do that by rolling this forward. I did very well that time. I didn't do this, first of all. I'm used to looking, the shifters have always been over here, and I'm still want to do this most of the time, but the shifters here, I just rolled that forward. D is for drive. It does indicate right here on the dash that it is in drive for me, and now this coach is ready to go. Now, diesel engines are also a little different animal, obviously, than a gasoline engine. And everybody thinks of diesel as this massive power, and they are, but it's a little different kind of power. It's a slower to react, smoother power, as opposed to an aggressive power, is how I describe it to people. I'm going to demonstrate that right now. All right, here we are with 360 horsepower and 800 foot-pounds of torque. Now my truck's a little over 300 horsepower and probably 400 foot-pounds of torque. If I stood right here and did what I'm about to do in this coach, we would squeal tires and take off very aggressively. But I'm going to take this accelerator, I'm going to mash it to the floor and show you what happens on a diesel pusher. 1, 2, 3. It's on the floor. All right, we're now at 15 miles an hour. I do that to demonstrate to people that there's a turbocharger on this engine, and that turbocharger has to spool up in order to get that power really going. A diesel, even, and this isn't because it's a 360 instead of a 450 or a 500 or a 600. If I jumped in the 600 horsepower London Air, it would do the exact same thing. You jump all over the accelerator, and it takes some time for things to start happening as that diesel pusher spools up. But the other thing that happened there is, unlike if you did that in a gas coach or a pickup truck or your car, it would throw you back in the seat and things would violently, be moving around inside the coach. It was very smooth. Even when it did start taking off, it was just you could feel a smooth pouring on of power. Now, we're going to go down the road here, and I'm going to talk about some different things to keep in mind. To me, the hardest thing to get new people used to in a coach is the width. Everybody's worried about the length. It's more the width. You get used to the height by not driving it through things that you can't go through. That's one of the wonderful parts about the random McNally, is if you program in your height, it won't take you down a road you don't fit. But as we get out here and I take this left turn, if I was in a car, I would already be turning left. In a motorhome, because I'm sitting over the front wheels, you wait a little bit. You drive a little deeper into the turns before you start to make the turn. So they're more like 90-degree turns than they are like nice smooth curves. Obviously, there's a million exceptions to everything I'm telling you here based on the road.
Les bars sont remplis, le jour se lève.
Again, please don't forget to like, share, comment on our video. We appreciate all of those things. Did a little cottony thing just fly in my mouth?
Parfum du midi, je fais la trêve.